Hello everybody, welcome back to week 2 of my school strategy blog. My name's Alexander, and thanks for watching. Thanks for everyone who participated last week in the first blog post about strategizing and how to memorize and really utilize your syllabus in order to excel. This week is going to be a good one. There's a couple of reasons for that. First, the rain went away and the sun came out, and the weekend's going to start here in about a half hour, and that feels pretty dang good. Second is actually the content. Today what we're going to be talking about is how to play to your strengths and really use the things that you are inherently good at to excel in every single one of your classes. We'll go over a couple of strategies and a couple ways of implementation for these strategies. Then, after we go over these strategies, we'll take a break for a week and see what we can come up with for next week. But for now, let's get started with the first one, and that is really realizing and understanding the best ways that you. This may be a little tough to apply to everyone watching, so all I can really do is speak for myself, and you can take this as it can best pertain to you. In studying my own learning, what I've found best and most effective is to make relationships from one subject to another and from one experience or memory to another. One application of this is that I, at the beginning of every semester, go out and buy a brand new notebook. And in this notebook, I take notes for every single one of my classes throughout the entire semester. The reason I do this is that I like having all of my notes and all of my thoughts and experiences recorded chronologically. That makes it easier for me to follow from idea to idea and from memory and lecture, and to make connections between each. Just to expound on this note-taking idea, I'd like to talk a little bit also about different ways that people learn, and more specifically, just the way that I've found most effective to learn my course. I can't in any way take credit for this means of studying. This was actually taught to me by a good friend of mine, and I found it to be very effective to first go through and figure out what it is that you're going to be learning in class before class. And take some time to just study it out, think about it, read through the textbook, look at the assignment so that you know what's coming up, and take a moment to just ask yourself questions, let your mind wander, create relationships and ideas with the subject matter that will be covered by your instructor. Then, once you have a pretty good idea of what it is that you're going to be learning, you'll go to class and you'll take your notes and learn as much as you can. See if you can't ask the teacher some of the questions that you'd come up with, and maybe even talk to some of the other students. One thing that I really struggle with in college is the idea that so many of my peers are so okay just keeping to themselves all throughout class and after class. Nobody sticks around long enough to talk. I found a lot of good help in just talking with other people, the instructor, the other students, after class, and just kind of developing ideas. Then the last part to the model is to simply go home and do your homework. You go through, you take a moment to organize your thoughts and figure out what it is that you have or haven't learned, answer any more questions that you still need to figure out. And by the time you finish your homework, you should be ready for the test. I've actually got a rule, and it's kind of standard for my study practices, but I don't actually study for finals. I don't cram or stress about my tests. I feel that if I've learned the material well enough throughout the semester, if I can keep on top of everything, then all that studying and all that stressing is just detracting from what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my time. And I've actually had a lot of success doing this. I tend to do really well on my tests using the same strategy. Then, after your test is over, you can go through and review it, see if you did miss anything. If you did, you probably ought to take a moment to figure out what it is that you were supposed to learn and didn't. And then just take a breather. Be happy that you got a good grade in it. Now, I know that I'm not a professional. Most people would actually probably consider me a bad student, but all these sort of things, though not necessarily mainstream or not necessarily something that's taught or advisable, they've worked for me, and hopefully with your implementation they'll work pretty well for you also. That's all I've got. So enjoy, maybe practice this learning model, figure out how it is that you can best understand things, and implement these strategies in your own studies. Maybe they'll help. With any stroke of good fortune, I'll see you back here next week.